Alrighty, so we taking a look at A0 GUNHEE and how he's performing. Honestly, for a free unit, he's not bad, definitely not the best, and could he be buffed? For sure, but if you want to check out to see how he's performing at A0, then feel free to go give it a watch. It should be the prior video to this one, so let me know your thoughts on that. But what we're going to do is do his build video and kind of see what artifact sets are going to be the most optimal one. And in case you are free to play, or you're brand new to the game and you don't have access to AP's greed set, then what is going to be some alternatives you can go ahead and run on this unit, because I feel like we've probably gotten like a lot of new players over this past update, so not everyone is going to have access to the AP's greed set, right? So let's go ahead and do that. If y'all are new, make sure you like, make sure you sub, and in the comment section, if you do have a different build for GUNHEE, let me know what your build is, and let me know how many dupes you have for the units, because I feel like that also does play a massive role into what artifact sets you do exactly want to run for GUNHEE, alright? But I mean, again, he's not a bad unit. Do I really wish he was a, DPS or pure DPS or fighter unit? Absolutely, but considering the fact that he is a break unit, he's definitely not too shabby. And could he use a little bit of reworking and buffs? Maybe, definitely, in my opinion. But if it is what it is, then we'll go ahead and rock with this kit on how he's working right now. So pretty basic when it comes to his skills. I'm not gonna lie, just weak break on pretty much every single part of his kit outside of the support skill and the QTE. That's pretty much it. On these two, he does have medium break, and then the ultimate is just simply doing light damage, right? Now, if you do get him to A3, then that is when he does gain almighty break, but outside of that, then it is just going to be doing weak break on all of his attacks. And I believe if you are able to get him to A2, then he does increase break effectiveness by 20%, which honestly isn't bad. If you are going into a content that does have break on it, then that can be pretty helpful. So when it comes to artifact sets, I'm pretty sure a lot of people by now are already running the set, but AP's greed set, in my opinion, is probably going to be the most optimal one to run for GUNHEE, and majority of the fights you do take. Just honestly, right? Because of the fact that, AP's greed set, you do gain the increased crit rate and crit damage by 15% for crit rate and 30% for crit damage. That is insane, honestly. So not only is he helping himself out when it comes to break effectiveness by 30%, but also offering the DPS support on crit rate and crit damage. It's kind of hard not to run the set on a lot of break units. So I'm sure if you are running the set, then you know how broken it is for GUNHEE. But let's just say that you do not have access to AP's greed set, right? Let's just say you don't even have any pieces for greed set, right? You don't have a single one, so you can't even run a 2Ps or 4Ps, let alone an AP set. So let's go and take all this off. Oh my god, it's gonna cost me gold, I forgot. Well, you know what? I'm doing it for you guys. So yeah, make sure you like the video for me losing 41,000 gold, by the way. So let's go and take all that off. That actually hurt my soul. But let's go ahead and say that you don't have access to those, right? Now, if you do have an A0, right, just like me, mine is A0 at the moment, and you don't want to run AP's greed set, or you cannot, I definitely do think solid analysis isn't a bad set either. Just again, because of the fact that his main role is going to be a break unit, and break effectiveness is going to be super important for a lot of the concepts that you probably are taking this unit in, then this is definitely not too shabby, right? Because keep in mind, he doesn't have medium breaks, he doesn't have heavy breaks on his attack. It's just weak, and then, what is it, on the support skill and QTE, he does gain medium break there. So definitely having the solid analysis set and increase in break effectiveness definitely is not too bad and definitely helpful, just so you are able to get the breaks off just a tad bit faster, in my opinion. So this is really helpful. And then also when you do attack enemies that have elemental weakness, then the break effectiveness jumps up to 30% as opposed to 15. So if you are going into a fight, let's just say you're doing story mode or whatnot, and you do have type advantage with light element, then this is definitely not a bad set to go ahead and run for GUNHEE, because you will have a 30% increase in break effectiveness, which is definitely helpful for those story fights. But let's just say that you are not running type advantage or anything, then I do think the Guardian set is not bad either, because of the fact that this unit does have shield capabilities, really helpful by the way. Then a 4P set, then anytime you do activate a shield, then increase the individual damage dealt by 10% for 10 seconds. So not only are you getting the shield effectiveness increased by 30%, which is crazy good, but on top of that, you are getting the damage increased by 10% on for 10 seconds, which is definitely a pretty lengthy time in my opinion. So this would honestly be, I would honestly say this is probably better than rocking the solid analysis set. Just because again, the shield for this unit is so good as well, and so you also get a 30% increase on that. And then on top of that, you are getting the DPS support as well on the 4 set. So this is not bad. I would honestly say if you want to run this for A0 GUNHEE or even A1 in my opinion, the Guardian set would be really helpful just because his shield again is crazy good, right? I mean, you guys saw it in the A0 showcase. His shield was he's a very tanky unit, right? I'm pretty sure others have kind of showcased the unit by now. If you want to go watch it, feel free to, but he is a very tanky unit to the fact that like he for the most part will almost like never die in my opinion. Massive amounts of defense increase, and then the shield as well scaling off of that said defense is so good. So I honestly am a big fan of the Guardian set, just offering the extra shield and the DPS support. But that's going to cover the left side, and then coming on to the right side, I was having a little bit of trouble with this one. Honestly, I would say okay, if you don't have the AP's greed set, or I'm sorry, if you don't have any greed set pieces, then the Berserker set would not be too bad. Now bear in mind that anytime the user does have 50% HP or less, then increase damage dealt by 15%. But if you do want to rock the 4-piece set, then the HP condition does change to 70% and damage increase does go up to 30%. This one isn't bad, and the reason why is because, again, he is not able to recover HP, right? It does say so on his first passive here. So anytime the user enters the stage, then he does gain the Broken Vessel, which decrease received HP recovery rate by 50%. So he will not be receiving HP as much as maybe some of your other units just because it is passive alone, which means that naturally he will be losing HP faster. So if you want to go ahead and run the Berserker set, that would not be too bad. And I feel like 70% is actually pretty decent. So that way, you know, you get below that 70% threshold, bam, Berserker set comes into play. And then you are also having a shield on top of that. So it's like you kind of get the best of both worlds. You know, your HP is somewhat still decent. You gain the shield effect, so you're extra tanky. And then your damage increase bumps up to 30%. This wouldn't be too bad on top of the Guardian set. So if you want to go ahead and run that, honestly, not a bad idea at all. So that is going to be a set that I do go ahead and recommend for you guys. Another one that I would say is pretty decent. I was thinking about this because Jiwoo did run the set and she is another great breaking as well. Executioner isn't bad, but the only thing is that their HP condition has to be 70%. So I'm not the biggest fan of this one, honestly, for GUNHEE. I do prefer the Berserk one over, just because, again, the HP condition is going to be for yourself and not the enemy. And then the damage increase bumps up to 30%, while the Executioner is going to be going up to 20% only. So I would say if I had to choose between the two, I would much rather prefer to run the Berserker set. So that one isn't bad. Now, I did see some comments of people saying, well, what about the brand new Warmonger set? This one is kind of situational because of, and I do understand why some people would say this, because you are increasing your attack and defense by 4%, right? And keep in mind, this is a unit that is scaling off of defense, but not attack. So I would say if you do have some deuce on a unit, this wouldn't be too bad, but I feel like for most free-to-play, you probably have the unit at A0, A1. I just don't think it's worth it. But if you are able to get GUNHEE to maybe A3 and above, this wouldn't be a bad set, because if you do run the 4-piece, then increase the user attack whenever their attacks hit, and defense increase by 3% for 6 seconds, and you do stack it up to 8 times, so you can get a 24% increase in attack and defense, which is crazy good. So again, I feel like if you do get the units to A3 and above, this would definitely be a good set to run. But I feel like for majority of you guys and low spenders and free to play, then I would say, in my honest opinion, the Guardian and the Berserker set is going to be really good, especially like for those who do not have AP's Greed set. Again, AP's Greed, in my opinion, is going to be the one to run for GUNHEE. But in case you don't have access to Greed set, then I would say Guardian and the Berserker set is going to be super good, and it's just crazy good damage because, again, 70% HP, very doable for this unit, and then you get 30% increased damage dealt on top of the Guardian set, offering you a extra 10%. So in total, you'll have a 40% for 10 seconds. So that is definitely not too shabby. Now, if you are someone that does have dupes, I was gonna go ahead and say toughness set isn't bad either. Again, it's very weird because he is capable of doing crazy crit damage, I'm not gonna lie. So I feel like, again, if you are in that position of having an A3 or above GUNHEE, then the 4-piece toughness set isn't bad because of the fact that you're already covered by the defense already. So you can kind of go ahead and focus more on the offense set. So 32% crit damage increase definitely is super good. But I feel like, again, if you are free to play or low spender, A0, A1, maybe even A2, then I feel like Toughness Set isn't the most ideal one to have for GUNHEE, because again, keep in mind, he is going to be a defending unit. He's going to be a break unit. He's not really going to be doing, he's not going to be your main damage dealer is what I'm trying to say. So I feel like A0 to A2, you are going to want to focus more on the defense side of things, which is why the break set, creed set is going to be great. Guardian isn't bad. And if you are rocking a type advantage fight, then toughness set, I'm sorry, the what is it, the solid analysis isn't bad either. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and end it there. Those are the build sets I would recommend. Hopefully it did help you guys, and if it did, be sure to like and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. But for me, I'm gonna run the AP's Groot set just because, again, majority of the fights, that is probably gonna be the one I do run. And plus, free to play wise, yeah, your gold cost is going to be super expensive if you do want to like constantly swap between sets. So if you do have AP's Greed set, please run this one. It's going to be the most ideal, and offering you a little bit of support for your other team members as well by crit rate and crit damage, which is super OP. All right, but I'll end it there. Let me know your thoughts. Take care, and yeah, GUNHEE. He's finally here. All right, end it there. Bye.